Hey guys, welcome to Charmy's Bookcase, where I, Charmy Terrell, review and discuss books I've read. And this week we'll be discussing the book The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, along with a 2018 film adaptation, with my special guest, Brenda!
Hey!
Now, this is your second time reading this book, right?
Yes, this is my second time.
Yeah, this is my first time. I didn't get into the hype that it was in 2016. No, not 2016. But way back then when it first came out.
Wait, the movie came out in when?
2018. I think
so maybe I did read it. 2016 or 2017.
When did this book come out? 1 second. Okay, so it was published in 2017, not 2016. But you know, it's still way back then. Yeah, I didn't get into the hype. I also didn't see the movie either.
Yeah, I read the book in, 2017. And I did not watch the movie. Just until now. I heard mixed reviews and I really loved the book, so I didn't want to watch the movie.
It has like a 7 on IMDb, I think.
They didn't read the book. I'm just kidding.
The Hate You Give is a young adult contemporary novel that follows a girl named Star Carter who witnesses the murder of her friend Khalil by a police officer. She lives a double life, one in the primarily black world of Garden Heights, and the other in a white world of Williamson Prep School. She battles with the exploration of race and identity throughout this book. If you haven't read this book nor seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you stop watching now.
Bye.
Without further ado, let's get into this. Trigger warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewers' discretion is advised. One thing I did like that the movie did was I thought it did a really good job depicting the family dynamic in the movie and in the book. I feel like it was pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. Like you have the father, Maverick. He is a former gang member who took a fall for another gang member in order to get out of the gang. And you just see like the love he has. Like he can be strict. We've seen that. The big tough love, very cold and distant, but he's also very caring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely
and
is.
Loving. Like he loves his family so much. Mm-hmm. And you really see that in both the book and the film.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then you have the mother, Lisa, played by Brenda.
I know. Cindy, the TV's leaking.
I love Regina Hall.
Me too.
Like, but every time I see her, I can't really take her seriously because she's in so many comedies.
I like that she is very diverse in the roles that she takes on.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, she's also a very loving mother in that one. And then I also love the messiness of the family because you have Seven, who is Star's half-brother, because the father and mother had a fight. And the father I don't know. So I read that she was a prostitute, but she's not a prostitute. Because she was she was the gang member's girlfriend, and I guess he was okay with sharing her.
Yeah, he was trying
which was weird.
Make him feel better. Like,
yeah,
my girls.
He's like, sleep with my girlfriend, it's fine. And I don't know why you would be like okay with that, but he was. And he gets the girl pregnant.
The only way I would think you'd be okay with that is if you never really cared about her from the start. Yeah.
And then Maverick gets the girl pregnant, and that's how we get Seven. Star's mom and him were still together. And she had to forgive him for it. Because, that is messed up. We get into a fight and you just sleep with somebody else 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
Sounds like Ross from Friends. That is very messed up.
Very selfish.
And then they have the little brother, Sakani, who is like, he's just a big goofball. It's so funny.
I really want to be Sakani.
Oh my god.
I know everybody thinks he's so cute, but like, I'm an older sibling, so like, you're getting on my nerves. Like, why are you peeing on the toilet seat?
Oh yeah, that beginning scene was pretty nasty.
But like, I guess I look, and he didn't even care. It's like he just.
I know he was laughing.
Yeah, like you think this is funny?
But there were a lot of characters that were left out of the film, like the grandmother.
Yeah, she definitely was.
Though I feel like in the book she was more for comic relief, like comedic relief.
Mm-hmm.
She was just like talking all this crap about everybody.
She's funny.
I did not like that the grandma kicked the mom out when she got pregnant with Star, though.
Yeah, I think about the time period, like the time period the grandmother grew up in, because that was kind of like the thing for like, oh, you get pregnant, oh, you're out. And
yeah.
Then, like,
you're on your own.
Yeah, and then it's just like they just come back in your life, like, hey, can I see my grandbaby?
Yes,
like,
I wish that the book elaborated on that.
Right, like
how did that
how do we build our relationship back up? Like, I gotta trust you. Like,
yeah, like you just kicked me out, like left me with my with your grandbaby to fend for ourselves, and be like, oh, let's not talk about that. Let's just forget it.
It makes me wonder where her dad was in this all of this.
Yeah, they never talked about the mom's dad.
I always wondered about that.
Another big change they did was to leave out the character of Devante altogether, which I thought was very...
I know, I was really...
But you know, it's a movie. They can't add everything.
They needed to add him.
They did. I really wish they did, because Dante is a kid from Star's neighborhood who gets caught up in the gang life. Devante. I don't know if you say Dante. Devante. He is given an assignment from the King Lord, which kind of sounds very, like, what's it called? No, like back in the day.
My lord.
Yeah, like King Lords. That's what it's like.
Yes, my lord.
Very, not Renaissance, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern.
I don't know what it is.
Medieval.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Medieval.
They weren't saying that in the Renaissance, because I'm pretty sure
they saying like high. Well,
I feel like they were saying my lord in there.
Oh,
my lady.
Back in the day, old timey terminology.
They didn't when there was no electricity. I'm just kidding.
But he's given an assignment, which is basically a death sentence. He's like, you know what? I want out the gang life. I don't want to do this. And so he starts working for Maverick in his store. But then he steals from the king. And,
oh, yes.
Why did he steal?
Because he was trying to get his mom out. Like, I understood why he did the things he did.
Yeah.
I just was kind of like, yeah, and this is where you messed up.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, you leaving, yeah, it was bad. But you stealing? Oh yeah, you don't get your butt kicked if you do that. Also, you should have read the book if you want to listen to this episode.
Right. Yeah, sorry, it's a spoiler on both the book and the movie.
Yeah, and we're not gonna like nitpicking and explain everything. Y'all need to read the book, okay?
Read the book. It's a good book, and it's Black History Month. Read this book.
Yeah, if you're gonna read one book this month, read that book.
You
still got a week left.
Right? Yeah, you got a week left for the shortest month of the year.
And so to save him from being killed by, King, who is the drug dealing leader of the King Lords, Maverick takes him to the uncle's house. Uncle Carlos, who is actually Lisa's, the mom's brother. Mm-hmm. And he shelters Devante there. Mm-hmm. He's also a cop. And there he meets Chris, and Chris and Devante actually become very close friends.
And Chris is Star's boyfriend.
Who happens to be Caucasian.
He white, y'all. He white.
But it's actually, since Devante's not in the film, he's actually the one that tells Star why Khalil was selling drugs. That he was selling drugs to pay the bills. He wasn't actually in a gang. He was selling drugs independently. It just goes to show that he wasn't a bad person. And that the media tried to point him out to be.
Right. He was doing what he needed. He was doing what he knew how to do to make money. You know what I mean? Like, he was working, but it wasn't enough. He was tired of choosing between lights and food. And so he decided to sell drugs. And it definitely sucks because his mother had the addiction to drugs. So he knows what it looks like for someone to be dependent on drugs. But it was like, my family's got to eat. Like, I got to protect my own. Not even really I got to just provide for my own.
Yeah.
And his grandma was also sick with cancer, getting cancer treatments, lost her job. It was just a lot.
It was a lot he was dealing with. As a 17-year-old.
Yeah, 17-year-old. The mother was not there. He had a 10-year-old brother. It was a lot.
Another character they left out was Mr. Lewis. And the reason why I like Mr. Lewis, even though he was very mean, is that he was the neighborhood barber who didn't take crap from anybody, even from the gang. Like, he was not afraid to tell the gangs what he felt.
He wasn't afraid to get a butt whooping from the gangs after telling them how he felt.
Like, in the book, he was in the movie, but in the book, he went on TV talking about the gangs and what they do to this community and why they're such a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Talking a lot of crap about the gangs. Mm-hmm. And in the end, the gang members jump him, beat the crap out of this old man. This old man still, after being his butt kicked, was like, and what? Come at me. I'm going to do it again.
You don't have to kill me because I'm going to keep saying what I got to say.
Mr. Lewis is one of those old black grandpas that don't care.
Right. Like, they have the best interest at heart, but they will tell you how it is. And I don't know if you want to take. I wouldn't take it personal because it's really coming from love. But except for what he said about the King Lords, it was not coming from love.
Yeah,
it was coming from passion. He was tired of them.
He was tired of them. Besides the cop, one of the big antagonists in the film and in the book is King, who is the drug lord of like the biggest drug gang they have.
Yeah, he's the biggest dealer in the city.
Played by Anthony Mackie, fine Anthony Mackie.
Yes, sorry, new Captain America. I'm just was not feeling you as King. I'm sorry.
I know you felt like he should have been like buffer and bigger.
Yeah, I was thinking.
When you pictured him,
I was thinking of what's his name from Green Mile. I cannot. Think
yes.
Of his
name.
name.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
Or Morris Chestnut, the guy from Best Man.
No, I know. I just don't see him.
Me either.
Dylan, no.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, if they would have made what's his name from Diary of a Mad Black Woman, the dude who cheated on his wife.
Oh yeah.
If they would have made him King, I would have been like, yeah,
this makes more sense.
Yeah.
But Anthony Mackie.
Honestly, what's his name? Blair Underwood could have played King.
Oh yeah. You know, it's just a list of a whole bunch of black actors.
Just a lot of black actors.
But King is the leader of one of the biggest cartels.
That's the closest thing they got to cartels in Garden Heights.
But he is really bad for the community, threatening the elderly, teenagers, anybody.
He threatened everybody. His kids.
His own kids.
Right.
Like, and so where he really fits in the story is he is with Aisha, who is Seven's mom. And him and Aisha also have two kids, Kenya and Lyric. And he doesn't treat them well at all.
Side note, but he got on Maverick for naming his son Seven, but his daughter's name is Lyric.
I know, but maybe he didn't name her. Maybe that was Aisha. Also, the girl who played Aisha looked, I imagine her being younger.
Me too, I did. I imagine her being younger.
But she looked good still. You know,
black don't crack. Well, sometimes it does, but in this case it didn't.
He also beats on her, and it's a lot of abuse. And it's like hard for me to imagine, but Aisha as a character is so fascinating because at one point she's trying to protect her family, but at one point I think she does love King and wants to do, or I don't know if she loves King, but she sees him as a way out of a struggle. Yeah. Sees him as a provider and someone who's going to protect her. And so she takes the beatings and aggression and abuse to protect herself, but she also puts her kids in harm's way by doing that.
It's so weird because it's like she's in an abusive relationship and you definitely sympathize for her, because I definitely would sympathize for her, but there were things that she would say to Seven that I would just be like, girl, like King ain't around right now, like you could really be like when she well, I guess we'll wait for the scene, but I just felt like she could have been a little bit more sympathetic when King wasn't around. I understood why she was afraid when he was there, you know what I mean, but when he wasn't there I was just like, woman, I need you to be caring, like this is your son, girl, like you're shaping a black man, girl, like this is tough out, it's hard in these streets.
I think the scene you were talking about is what they changed in the movies so in the movie,
no, actually the scene I'm talking about is not even in the movie.
Oh, what scene are you talking about?
I'm talking about when she pulled up to the graduation
party. Now that should have also been in the movie. So in the book there's a graduation party for Seven, I believe. And she wasn't invited. It was also at their Uncle Carlos's house,
which is in a gated community, so she had to call to get permission to even be let in.
Yes, and Aisha is not as far from white societal norms. She don't care either. She will, like, it's also because in the movie there's a scene where she goes to church and she's screaming in the church to get her son's attention. I'm like, this is not proper church etiquette.
She ghetto, y'all.
She is ghetto.
She just ghetto. And we know, we live in the ghetto. I know when to turn my ghetto on and when to turn my ghetto off.
Yes, we have our own switch. But in the book, at Seven's graduation party, she yells at him, like, why wasn't I invited and stuff like that. And he's like, you think I really want to invite you? Like, the way you're acting right now. And he really really goes into her that she is stunned.
By the way, she didn't even show up to his graduation. So, he's not invited. I'm sorry, but you don't even show up to my graduation, and you think I'm gonna invite you to my graduation party?
But she show up when there's food, though. Girl. But there is a scene that's in the book and in the movie that they switched up. So when Devontae, who went against his, gang, they find him and they beat the crap out of him and they tie him up in the bedroom. Now in the movie, they reversed it and did it to Seven, since Devontae isn't in the movie. And so in the book, they go get Devontae, and as they're leaving, Aisha comes and sees them leaving. Now, King's in the backyard getting drunk, partying, because that's what you do after you beat up, apparently.
Right, yeah.
And so she's like, I'll distract King. Though she doesn't say it, she's like...
She implies it.
She implies it.
Get out of my house and take your sisters with you. But really, she's saying, like, please leave because your safety is at risk. Okay?
Yes. And she's like, I'll distract him. Y'all take the king. Take the king.
Don't take the king. Leave the king.
Take the kid and leave, in which they do. Which, I appreciate her doing that. It was, like, very nice of her.
And knowing that what was going to happen after a beating that she got, which was really bad to the point where she was in the hospital.
It's just so sad because I feel like she feels like this is normal. And it's
this
really
is her
not.
norm.
This is like... Another character I want to talk about is Chris, Star's boyfriend. I like Chris.
Me too.
In book and in the movie. I feel like though I did imagine him as a blonde, I don't know why. But in the movie, I feel like him and her are so cute together.
By the way, Chris is Archie from Riverdale.
I'd never seen Riverdale, but I knew all the actors in that TV show.
It's so crazy seeing him with dark hair. I'm like, I'm so used to you
with the red hair.
Yeah.
Is he naturally red hair? Because Archie in the comics has red hair, right. But I don't know if the actor is.
I can't remember. If your eyebrows match your hair color, then I'm gonna think that's really your real color. Okay, unless I know you bleaching your eyebrows. Okay.
But one thing that did change, well, it actually changed a lot. But like the meeting of Chris and the movie, the dad meets Chris after prom, which was not in the book. In the book, he meets Chris earlier because Chris and Devontae get close, and he just happens to go to Carlos's house for some reason. I forgot.
No, he ends up seeing Star. He sees them pull up, and he went over to the house, and that's Devontae's like, "Oh, you got a white boyfriend? You would have a white boyfriend." So that's when he meets him. And
obviously that meeting was awkward. It was also awkward in the movie.
Yeah, it's just always going to be an awkward thing,
especially when your dad.
Especially when you live in the hood and you have a white boyfriend. It really is. They're gonna be looking at you like, "Oh, black boys ain't good enough for you." It's like, nah, it's not about race. It's about connection, you know?
Which is like why I like that scene in the movie when he was like, I didn't teach you.
He was basically saying, like, I wasn't a good example of a black man for you to have to go date outside your race. And it's like, no. He has the qualities you have. Race didn't mean anything to me. He had the qualities you had.
Yeah, he showed me what a man is supposed to be.
Color.
Chris is like 17 years old. We don't know nothing, but he was there.
He knew what he knew for his experience at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also another thing that was different was the riot scene. Now in the movie, Star asks him to take the girls away from the riot, and he's like, okay, I'll go, and he leaves. But in the book, he stays with Star, stays with her through the whole entire riot, almost gets burned alive,
right? And
it's still like, you know what, you my girlfriend still.
Right, like, I'm about to ride or die.
Ride or die. Like, you're ride or die, and I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
We love together, and we go die together.
My boyfriend's talking about let's go riding. I'm like, okay, baby, I'm gonna pray for you from the sideline.
Another character I want to talk about is Haley. And I know how much you love her.
About to throw an espresso in Sabrina's face. I'm just kidding. No.
And Haley's face. Not Sabrina, Haley. Now, we obviously know Haley is a symbol of white privilege. Mm-hmm. She expects people around her to feel and center their feelings around her and her experiences.
Right. One thing she said that really, and it doesn't even apply to like white privilege, but she said it's a joke. It wasn't intended to hurt, and it doesn't matter if the intentions were to hurt this person or not. This person felt hurt. Yes. So as my friend, I would think you would be like, I'm so sorry, my intentions were not to hurt you. I was joking around, even though the joke was very inappropriate and racist. Still taking that accountability and being like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
I made you feel this way.
Right.
Like, I did not mean
She was just
to.
Like, it's a joke. Get over it. Like, yes. Girl, when I beat you. Anyway. Like, go get over that.
But what I do like, and it's kind of goes today, is Haley, Maya, and Star. Now, in the book, Maya is Asian. I think she's also mixed white and Asian.
I think so, too.
But they didn't say that in the movie, and I don't think they did that in the movie. And they never expressed it or outright said it. But in the book, there is a scene where Maya and Star are talking after Star had a big fight with Haley. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, we all know that Haley has racist tendencies. Mm-hmm. But Star's like, have you ever said anything to Maya? And Maya's like, it's hard to stand up, it's hard to speak out. But the thing is that Star also didn't do that for Maya, because there's a scene, she talks about how Haley was like asking Maya, do you eat dogs and cats?
Yeah, on Thanksgiving
and
or something.
Star
like
never said anything to help Maya's discomfort in that instant. So it really shows that we need to speak up for each other and for ourselves. Even if you feel discomfort, you still need to be like, hey, that wasn't okay.
Right.
and don't just let it slide, because if you let it slide, then people think, oh, it's okay to joke about that stuff.
Right, and it's not. And I mean, you have some people who you got black people who will joke about black people things, but like that's their experience. They've experienced it. If they want to turn that into a joke, they can. That's not for anybody else to be like, well, this black person said it, so I'm gonna say it too. Like, no, sweetie, that is their experience. So if they want to joke about their experience, they can, but it is not for you to joke about, okay?
Another thing that they changed from the book and the film is Khalil's murder. Now, in the film, he is pulled over. It doesn't really say why he was pulled up, because he didn't put the light blinker on when he switched lanes.
In the movie, but in the book, his tail light.
Yeah, his tail light. But in the movie, he didn't blinker, even though he's the only car on the road besides the cop.
You better put that blinker. I don't care if nobody is there.
But he didn't put his blinker on, so he gets pulled over. And so he tells him get the car. He gets out the car. He pats him down. The car door is closed at that point. And so the cop's like, stay here, don't move, stuff like that. So Khalil moves. What's weird to me is that he goes to the window, takes a hairbrush, starts brushing his hair. And I'm like, dude, this is not time to worry about your vanity right now. In what world would a kid in this moment, when the cop pulled him over, started like brushing his hair? I feel like that was very weird for them to add.
I would say the only way I can think about it is if they're not taking this situation seriously, or if it's not life-threatening in their eyes. Like for Star, she grew up being told, like, when you're pulled over, officer, let them see your hands. If you, yes sir, no sir, like respect, like you don't reach for nothing, you ask permission to get stuff. Just because, even though like you have your rights, you don't want to. You don't want, I hate to say it, but you don't want to be on an RIP shirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one wrong twitch of the hand or movement, and
I feel like if
they're gonna shoot you.
If you're that scared, you should not be a cop.
I agree. If you're scared of fire, you can't be a firefighter. And if you're scared for every little tiny thing, you cannot be a cop.
Yes. What I was gonna say is, in the book, it's different. In the book, he does open the car door, but he leans in to ask Star.
You don't care if you're okay, Scar. You kill Mufasa.
If Star is okay, but even before he can say, hey, are you okay, he gets shot. Now, his back is turned against you. He has nothing in his hands, and yet you feel like you are in danger.
I know, it wasn't even like, don't reach for your weapon, drop your weapon. It was nothing. It was just like you just seen him lean over and you just shot him up. Like, it was kind of like...
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you
should have assessed it better.
Right.
Like, the cop was too jumpy. You can't be jumpy doing this job.
In the movie, he was. In the book, I felt like the cop was more aggressive. In the movie, I felt like he was scary.
Yeah. Scary as in he's not scary, but scary as in the cop himself was scary.
Yeah. He looked, it kind of portrayed him as like a rookie.
Like it's his first day.
Right, yeah, no, that's the vibe I got from the movie.
But also Switch makes it look like the cop had a reason by him taking up the brush and having an object in his hand, which was not in the book. In the book, he had nothing in his hand.
Yeah, he just leaned into the car.
And in the movie, Star runs out and the cop handcuffs her, which was not in the book. He didn't handcuff her. Did he? No, he didn't. But she did go and grab Khalil's body and was holding him, trying to stop the bleeding, but he was shot and he was bleeding too fast and he basically died in her arms, which was incredibly sad. But as he's dying in her arms, the cop has a gun to her, telling her not to move. It was just a really hard scene to read because, like, in the movie you can hear the pain, but as I'm reading the book I can hear her pain, and it's like, you shot this kid, you realize, like, oh crap, there's no weapon, and she's like over him crying, like I don't know if her back was turned to him, but her attention was not on 115, and he still had his gun pointed at her as if she was a threat. She's not doing anything threatening. She's crying over her bleeding friend and she's still being held at gunpoint. That's crazy to me. I don't know, if I was a cop I'd be like, oh my god, girl, like, we gotta stop the bleed, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been like that. Yeah. And what's also weird to me is that I know cops are trained to shoot at the in the abdomen, but I feel like if a suspect, you want to put them in jail, so you would shoot them in the legs. My question is, I guess this is just a police protocol, why are you shooting to kill? Is my question. Yeah, your job is to protect and serve. Right. So if you're scared, whatever, you can shoot somebody in the knee and they down. They probably not coming after you, because you blow somebody's kneecap off, that's a wrap. You know, but they shoot in the chest area, and then, like, the likelihood of you surviving getting shot in the chest is pretty low. Which leads me to what Haley said, like, the cop is just trying to protect himself. And I'm like, yes, you can protect yourself, but as a cop, you're supposed to protect and serve the community. And he was one of the community. Yeah. And you did not protect or serve him.
I feel like when you take that oath, there's the possibility that something bad can happen to you. It's like people who, when you join the army, it's like there's the possibility that you may not come back. So if you're afraid of not coming back, I don't think you should join the army, because you could die there. You know what I mean? You can't just be like freaking out and shooting up places and shooting your teammates because you got scared. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, these people, we depend on you. We depend on you for our safety. And a lot of people don't even go to the cops because they're scared
of them.
Yeah, they're scared that like wrong movement and it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Or like you've had people come to the cop for help and they were shot and they were the ones who called the cops and needed the help. So it's just really sad and disheartening that people feel. I feel like I go to church with cops, and when I see them in uniform, I'd be like, yo, like, I'm a little nervous. You know what I mean? But I have a fear of cops. I don't think all cops are bad, but I do have a fear of cops. Kind of like I have a fear of men. Like, look, not all men are bad, but I don't know what your intentions are, so my guard is up. Yeah, so my guard is up. I'm gonna lower it once I get to know you, but like it's up.
Also, if you do get pulled over by a cop, you can record them. Is by law. You can't. If they tell them you can't, they are lying to you. Although, you can record them.
I do believe there are laws that are trying to be put in effect where you cannot record a cop. Which I guess maybe that's like a phone recording. If you have a dash cam, I don't know.
Yeah, because we keep our dash cam on. Yeah, wherever we go.
That's because of these drivers. They reckless and hitting and run.
But this is not a hate cop speech. This is just one incident where this one cop, 115, they did give him a name. I can't remember right now.
I can't think of his name either.
But we're not saying all cops are bad. We're just saying that this particular cop was not fit for the duty he was set on. And he probably should have had a partner with him to calm him down. Experienced partner.
I think so too.
There's also this thing that is the Harry Potter thing that the dad was saying about gangs, but you can also apply that to cops, how they will ride and die for each other even if the other person did something wrong.
Yeah,
like that's their
yeah, you got dirty cops who dish and sell drugs. Like, you could look at the police department as a gang. Yeah, it's just another gang out there.
So after Khalil's murder, Star is faced with a challenge to either speak up or to stay quiet. And there's one character, it's Issa Rae's character, Ofra, yes. She goes up to her and it's like, you know, you could use your voice to really change some things, and if you use your voice to a grand jury, they might be able to indict the cop. And so she struggles with the decision to use her voice because she doesn't want to be seen as a poor black girl from her friends who are from a white school, but she also doesn't want to be a target from the gangs in her actual neighborhood that don't want her to snitch on them.
And the reason why she wants to do it is because she knows that Khalil would have fought it for her so hard for
which her. Is another thing they changed, which was that speech that Kenya gave her. Like, if it was reversed and you had died instead of Khalil, you know he would went to bat for you.
Right. Also, there's another thing that is important to mention is that there used to be a trio. It used to be Khalil, Natasha, and Star.
Oh, yes,
Natasha was killed at a young age. I think they were 10.
Yes.
And she was killed in a drive-by. And then Khalil, gets killed by an officer. So it's like, it's a lot on her. You know what I mean?
She lost two friends. From gun violence.
And honestly, if you look at it from different types of gangs.
Yeah. In the end, Star does go in front of a grand jury to give her testimony to indict the officer, but they decline it and then starts a riot. Some people are tired of the riot trope, but I feel like it's really important because it still happens even today.
Not only that, but it seems like, and I don't think that I don't even think rioting is what I'm more protesting.
Yes.
It seems like if we stay quiet, it keeps happening. You know what I mean? Like, we need to voice it. We need to draw attention to it because people are scared, you guys.
Yes.
Like, and this can't keep happening. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with rioting. I don't agree with destroying the city that you live in. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when people riot, especially when it's in the city that you live in, it does not affect the people that you're trying to get the attention to. It affects your city.
Yes. it started off as protest, and there's people who want to do a good thing and just want to protest. And then you have people who are letting out their frustrations and anger, and then you have a third group of people who are just here to steal because they see the opportunity. Like during a protest, during a riot, it's kind of hard to catch the stealers because everything's so chaotic.
You know what I find funny about protesting, or even with rioting, when people bring it up like, and I like destroying the city is not good, but when people bring it up like that's not okay, like rioting is terrible. I think about how the American Revolution started with us going in there and dumping their tea into the river. Not us, but the people going in there and dumping their tea. Like that would be considered a riot back then.
It would have been. Which reminds, like during. It was 2020 when we had a protest in Long Beach, and it was start off peaceful, and what was crazy is that people came from out of state to steal, not to protest, to steal. They went down to the Pike where I go all the time. I don't go all the time, but they broke into Hot Topic and stole all the Hot Topic clothes, and then they did a second round and stole all the Funko Pops.
And I was for the protest. I'm like, yes, let's protest in our city. I was not for watching my city burned from my window, because we watched downtown burn, and it was sad. It was sad because some people came here with the intention of destroying. And some people, a lot of the people who lived in Long Beach came with the intention to just peacefully protest.
That day will never leave my mind.
No, even to this day, sometimes I look out that window and I just remember seeing Dad, the store Dad goes to buy his suits on fire. Yeah, and that I believe, and that was a family-owned business too. Yes. And then you got people who lived on top of their businesses downtown and they were setting them on fire. So it was like their homes were burned down too.
That's why I feel like rioting, like the whole rioting trope is over. Is like, it really isn't, because it still happens today.
It's still relevant today. I would just like it to be peaceful protesting, but
there's always that one group of people who try to ruin it, and then they make the protest all about the destruction and not about what the true purpose was. Right. Another thing that was added to the end of the movie was the confrontation between King and Maverick, in which Connie grabs his dad's gun and points it at King, like telling him, leave my dad alone, which I get, it was very emotional. And two cops come pointing their guns at Sakani, who I think is 7 years old. I know it's for like an emotional pull from the audience, like, oh my god, they're gonna shoot this little kid. And Star steps in front of her brother, like, no, don't shoot him, we have enough death. And what's really weird is that they just ended there, because we all know what this ending would bring so many questions. Like the cops asked where the kid got the gun. He got a gun from his daddy. His daddy ex-con. He can't have a gun. Right. His daddy going back to jail. Right. Like they should have not added that scene. Also, there's no way the cops did not be checking up on this.
Sakani is one of the world's greatest pickpocketers.
Oh, yeah,
how he got that out of his dad's pocket.
His dad knowing.
But his dad knowing.
His dad was trying to find it. Like, where is that? Where?
I honestly did not like that. I did not like seeing that gun in
the little boy's
hands. Not because I don't think that kids should learn gun safety, because I do think that, I know that's crazy. Some people don't agree with that, but I do think that if you're gonna have a gun around the house, it is important for your kid to know gun safety. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like seeing a little black boy pointing a gun and cops pulling up. Yeah. Because we know that there have been stories where these kids have fake guns and they have been killed because of it. So I didn't like that. I'm glad that it didn't end that way, because if this movie would end that way, I would have just threw Charmy's laptop out the window.
No, not my laptop.
Sorry, girl. I just would have chucked that out the window.
I have to get a new laptop. And those Apple laptops are expensive.
A Mac is crazy. A Mac costs the price of a down payment on a car.
It really does. But in the book, the ending's very different. Instead of, the kid with the gun, the cops come and the community comes together and turn King in for trying to burn that place down with kids in it.
Yeah, psychotic.
Really. And they get him arrested, which they do get arrested in the movie. They just did it like in the narration. They didn't really show it. Mm-hmm. Well, they showed it, but they didn't show the community coming together to put him
I saw King did it. Girl, me too. It was him.
That was how it was in the book.
Right.
Just people just ganging up on him, which they should have done a while ago. And I also liked at the end, I didn't like it, but I felt like it was more realistic that the court didn't indict.
Yeah.
I feel like if they did, it would be like, this is a fever dream. This will not really happen in real life. But yeah, that is The Hate You Give.
There was something so Star does do an interview
where they blurred her face.
They blurred her face
in the movie. You could still tell it was her.
Mm-hmm. Totally tell, and her boyfriend definitely was able to tell that booty. they said, if you could say anything to 115, what would you say? And she said, and this really sent chills down my spine, like, do you wish that you would have shot me? And I was just like, yo, like, because, like,
if he had shot her, there would be no witness.
There would be no witness.
And he would have probably got this without being indicted, without getting suspended with pay.
I know.
Like, at least take his pay away. Like,
right.
Now you just pay him just to sit at home.
Right. Yo, what? My tax dollars going and he ain't even protected and serving? Like, I'm a little annoyed about that. I'm not gonna lie.
If you don't indict him, at least don't pay him.
Right. Like, you better go on EDD like the rest of us if we get fired or something. But there was also something else that was the interview that they had his dad do.
The cop's dad.
It infuriated me because in the interview he was saying that they were cussing at him. They were cussing at my son and all this stuff, and it's just crazy because you know that Star grew up learning that you gotta respect them, you gotta be polite, even if you don't feel that way, you just gotta cater to them so they don't kill you. And to hear him saying like, yeah, them kids was cussing at him and all this type of stuff and being defiant, it's like, no.
Well, he did talk back, but it wasn't like.
And it wasn't even talking back. It was like, why are you pulling me over? Get out of the car.
It's not like why, he called him a pig.
Like, I have the right to ask you why you're pulling me over.
You actually do have a right to ask.
So you're upset because I'm asking you why I'm being pulled over. So that just kind of infuriated me.
And he's like, just give me my ticket. He's like, no, get out.
Right, searching him. It was like,
you
dude,
could have just given him the ticket.
You just wrote him a ticket and it would have just been a night.
The ticket is really bad. If you don't like tickets, just give him a ticket.
Right. I don't know why he did that. I'm not a cop, so I would just been like, if I was a cop, I would probably be the least problematic, because I'd be like, here your ticket, you got a problem, argue with the courts, goodbye. Like, that would have just been me. But
the title, The Hate You Give, is an what's it called? Acronym, sorry. It's an acronym coined by the rapper Tupac Shakur. Yeah.
Hey. West Coast, best coast.
And it stands for The Hate You Give, Little Infants Fucks Everybody. Well, it really centers around the cycle of racial poverty, how living in the hood, only getting what the government gives us, which is barely anything, really just puts them in a cycle where they can't escape, where they have to go through selling drugs out of poverty, but that's a crime, and so they're labeled as criminals. But if that's the only things they know, then that's how they get stuck in the cycle. Mm-hmm. Really shows like society gives hate to black communities through structural racism, not investing in these communities and not allowing for education and other routes out of poverty, which I feel like why Devontae's character was so important and why they shouldn't have left him out, because he really was struggling with that.
It sucks because it's like we want, like Tupac was saying it, like we want our community to thrive, but it's so hard for our community to thrive when it's handed like the crumbs, you know what I mean? Like, yes. When you look at how the neighborhoods in different communities look, you got like your hood where there's like dog crap all over the place and like, you know, like broken down cars, and you drive to other neighborhoods where like that would not be an issue because cops would be called, like, you know, a whole bunch of other things would be the reason why these things aren't happening. It sucks. If you're born into a family, your mother's on drugs, you know, you're a kid and you're having to figure out and how to provide for your grandmother because she's got cancer, she just got fired from her job. Like, you know, what do? Do you send your kids to put them in the system? Like, even the system is not good for kids. So it's like a cycle of like failure. There's no way to get out. You look to the only way you know how to get out, and that's joining the gang and selling drugs, you know what I mean? Because when you join a gang, the gang starts to provide for you. They start to give you money. They start to take care of you, even though they're not really doing it because they genuinely care about you. But you as a kid, you feel that way. Like, yeah, they gave me money. Yeah, I have food. Now I have a roof over my head. Like, I'm living the good life. And you're not. You don't understand that you just not sold your soul to the devil, but basically kind of sold your soul to the devil.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like the title could also discuss like the hate you give breeds more hate.
Yeah.
I hate you. I hate putting me in this situation. You give me hate, and so in turn I hate you back. Right. And it's just a whole system, just hate on hate, and where we all hate each other, can't trust each other, don't like each other, and see each other as threats.
It's really sad. And it's not even just a black issue. It's a people of color issue.
Human issue.
It's a human issue. It really is. If we just extended the same love and grace that we kind of extend to our own families,
to other people,
right? We wouldn't be in this cycle.
We just need to love each other, but not romantic love.
No,
friendly love,
friendly brotherly love.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed the book. There was one thing I didn't like, and And I think it's because I've been reading a lot of fantasy novels, so when I read a book that was set in our real world, I can't help but not like all the pop culture references. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Nikki's. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still in fantasy brain. They don't have this there. So I was really annoyed by that. But besides that, I really enjoyed this book.
This book made me cry so much.
It didn't make me cry, but it did make me tear up and made my, like, when you're about to cry, your heart's like beating real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like the exhilaration.
There was one quote that really stuck out to me, and it was when I believe she was about to go testify in front of the grand jury, and her mother says, "I'm proud of you, baby, you're so brave," and she goes, "I'm not." And her mother goes, "Yes, you are." And she like brings her close and she says, "Brave doesn't mean you're not scared, Star," she says. "It means you go on even though you're scared, and you're doing that." And that really, like, it brought goosebumps to me, because like people have done brave things and been terrified. Yes. You know what I mean? But you just keep going on. You keep pushing through, even though the fear is there, because whatever you're doing, it's bigger than the fear you feel. Like, it's so much bigger than you. You know what I mean? In a sense.
I feel like if you're not afraid, then it's not bravery.
Right.
Unless you're a psychopath. Fear is what makes you brave. You're scared, but you do it anyway. That's what makes you brave. That's what makes you strong.
It's a very scary situation, and you still push through it, knowing that, you know what, I don't know what the outcome's gonna be, but I'm just gonna push through anyway, because I can't stay silent. I can't sit back and do nothing.
I give the book a 4 out of 5 stars.
I give this book a 4.9
out
of 5 stars. I love this book. Rereading this book again made me realize why I love this book so much in 2017. Like, even just the end of the book where she lists all the people who were victims of police brutality, you know what I mean? And even talking about Emmett Till and everything that happened to him. You know, we actually covered Emmett Till, if you want to check that out on the RetrofloraPodcast. Podcast. Shout out to RetrofloraPodcast. Just kidding. It's just eye-opening to see all these names, and this is just a minute fraction of victims who were taken, and there was no need for it. And that's just the people we know of. There's so many victims that we don't know that their lives were taken by the cops, and not even just black victims, not even just people of color. You have white victims who have been killed by the police. So it is a race thing, but it's not a race thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
we all matter.
Everyone matters. You know what I mean? And we just have to be a little bit more diligent when we're doing things, and taking everybody's point of view. You know what I mean? It's not an easy job, because I'm not gonna sit here and say like if I what I would do, because I don't know what I would do. But I do know that I don't want to presume or assume everyone is out to get me, because I can't have that mindset all the time. You know what I mean? You can have your guard up, and you can protect yourself, and you can be like,
set boundaries.
Right. Be hesitant, and don't just go willy-nilly like, hey, I'm a cop, get out the car, let's, not that. But you don't have to always assume that there's going to be a threat. It doesn't always have to escalate to that.
As for the movie, do you think it was a good adaptation to the book? You can't say no.
I would say no, but if I didn't compare the book to the movie, out of 10, I would give the movie like a 6 or 7. I would give it a 7.
You think it should have been like a standalone? No.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, kind of like a standalone. I know it's hard to be a standalone when it's literally about the book, but like if I didn't have the information that I got from the book, then I would give it like a 7. But because I've read the book, I fell in love with the book. The book was so good to me, and it just, in my opinion, didn't captivate the whole like story from the book. Comparing it to the book, I give it about a 4. Okay, like it was like
it took the big parts and then just threw out all the important parts.
Right, it was like getting a nice juicy Ruth Chris steak and only getting one bite out of it. You know, I'm a little mad about that. Ruth Chris, I want the whole steak. Okay,
delicious. I did like the movie, and I will give it like a 7 out of 10. It's just funny because she did not have a good time with this movie.
I didn't. I was talking through the whole movie like, no, and all that stuff.
This didn't happen. This should have happened. What the heck is that?
Right. I'm sorry, but I did want to see the scene where they was fighting at school. Like, I really did.
Like the hairbrush thing. The other thing they added that I forgot. I'll add it right now. Is that she takes the hairbrush from Haley, and we like in the movie she takes the hairbrush from Haley and uses it as a weapon, And it's not funny, but the when she when she attacked Haley and Haley just burst into tears, I felt like that was very weird.
Not to mention the sound the brush was making. It was like,
yeah, but like, brushes do not make that sound.
If she was wielding a belt, then maybe, but like,
yeah, like, does this look like a weapon? But in the book, it was different. She confronts.
She basically tells her that, like, if the police didn't kill him, somebody else would. And that is crazy to me. Because even if you feel that way, which you shouldn't, you do not need to say that to somebody who just lost somebody that was close to them.
Yeah, and so in return, Star punches her in the face. And then Haley's boyfriend comes. No, they fight out. And then
Haley's brother. I think it was her brother.
Oh, yeah, his brother.
And
comes. She's like, I think
he called it like a B or something like that. Like.
And then 7 comes and they start fighting. And then,
it was a family brawl.
Yeah, it really was. His brother against brother, sister against sister.
Yeah.
And
Maya just like,
Maya's like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
But that was also what was different from the book and the film.
Also, I do like their little minority pact they created. Maya and Star. Yeah. Like, we minorities got to stick together. Because in the movie, not so much. Maya wasn't really... She didn't really have a lot of lines. But in the book, she was definitely standing up for Star. Like, you can't say that. Like, all that stuff. Like I said, even if you felt that way, which you shouldn't, not everything you feel or think needs to be said. Mm-hmm. You need to be mindful of people's feelings, and Haley was not mindful of anybody's feelings but her own. Even to the point where in the book when she texted her like, I'm sorry, it wasn't like, I'm so sorry for hurting your feelings, I'm sorry, I want things to go back to the way they were before.
But the way they were was everybody following you like a puppy dog.
Right, and you saying things that were very racist and very prejudiced to other people, and them just like not addressing it and laughing it off. Like, it can't go back that way. So if you're not willing to change, like, no hate in my heart, I wish you the best from afar. Well, you've made it to the end.
You must really like the sounds of our high-pitched voices and quirky commentary.
You might as well subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to be notified every time you drop new content. If you want to follow our social medias, they will be linked in the description box below.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Go read this book.
Now.
You don't even have to pay for it. Just go to a library.
Yes, go to your local libraries, you guys.